Chances are, if you've been following this channel, recently in fact, and have considered my feedback surrounding Bullet for My Valentine, specifically in regards to their self-titled album and the Deluxe edition even more than that, I'm sure you're aware of just how much I've spoken to the credit of this release. I feel, on every level, and it's a similar sentiment I've had, again, with the standard edition as well, because these were released differently. The first 10 tracks debuting previously, months ago, in fact, on that standard edition. These 5 tracks coming out in the way of the Deluxe edition, serving as a nice compliment. I have felt that every track, which I've given previous coverage to in this channel, those being Omen, or the first 3, Omen, Stitches, and No More Tears to Cry. Every one of those tracks has delivered for me on every front. And this is Bullet for My Valentine we're talking about. I expected nothing less, given that I've been a fan for many years. I consider them signatures within the metal scene, and specifically even more so within European metal, which I have a very special place in my heart for. I have loved this album all around. It's been a fun release. I feel that it's really spoken back to the roots of BFMV and just why I really came to love them in the first place. But even more than that, it has that aggressive edge that I love. It's just been a substantially good release all around. And I do consider it a very enjoyable privilege being able to highlight just how much I love Bullet for My Valentine in way of this album. But I've also spoken to this in the past regarding BFMV, that when I think about this release, I have regrets. And this is largely in regards to the standard edition. I wasn't doing as much music coverage at the time that album came out for the vast pool of artists I'm doing today. In the months since, I've made substantial progress in making music coverage more of a mainstay on this channel, which has been a long goal of mine. But I just wasn't doing this as much back when the standard edition came out. And I wish I had, because there's not many times where I don't listen to that standard edition. And at this point, I can't tell you how many times I listened to that album over and over again. There's not many times where the shadow of regret doesn't loom over me, and that, I wasn't able to give my first impressions to these songs publicly. And it would have been a lot of fun to do so, because it would have spoken to, again, just how much I love this release. So in the months since, when I heard about this Deluxe edition coming out, I said, hey, what a fun way to pay penance. Which has been, enjoyable. I'm not saying pay penance like there's a burden to it. It's been quite great, in fact. But it's sort of paying for my mistakes. But even more than, I'm like, that was 10 tracks. And I've only listened to 3, and I mentioned this, I think, in the last video. It's been fun covering the last 3. I don't tend to do this that often. Why not do a full album release, considering we only have 2 more tracks to go? That's what I'm here to do today for Bullet for My Valentine. I love listening to this group. I love showcasing their stuff, and we got some more new songs to listen to now that the Deluxe edition has released in its full capacity. And I'm going to start out with Step Out From the Inside. I'm separating the tracks into 2 videos. But we're going to start out with this one, which is the first of the 14th track on the album in consideration, but the 4th new track on this Deluxe edition. And it sounds pretty good. I've already previewed the lyrics. Of course, I'm going to pull the song up in a minute, and I'll pull up the lyrics as well. I'll superimpose them for your convenience so you can read along with the song if you so choose to. But I'm really excited to give more of a listen to Bullet for My Valentine. I mean, it's probably going to be a while until we get another album coming out that I'll be able to talk about them again, but it's been a lot of fun. And I figured, I want to have some more, at least, with the last 2 tracks that we have to go with this album. So, Step Out From the Inside. I'm going to cue this up, and we can enjoy this together. Soft intro. Bit garbly and techno. I mean techno in the sense like technological focus, not like Daft Punk or something. Softer. It's nice. The last 3 tracks have been rough, so it's kind of nice to have a bit of a shift, maybe. With, of course, Matt's, I think it's his name, signature vocal style. The lyric writing and the narratives of these pieces over the last couple of tracks have been really good. It's beautiful. Nice background riff. It's good. I do really enjoy the softer presence here on this song. It's a beautiful compliment to the lyrics. This chorus is beautiful. When that music comes in, it's just like very heartwarming. It's peaceful. But it's a very deep story, as I said. Okay. This definitely keeps it in the vein of the rest of the album, but I kind of like the softer edge, and this is good too, though. I like where it's going so far. It's good. The vocals on that are beautiful in terms of the transition jumping between the lines. Forever and it just works for me. Feels like a bit of a softer song, or yeah, softer. Well, it is a much softer song, but it's still going too. But you don't have much time left of it. Bit swift in its presence. There's that wind down. I guess it kind of works, in compliment to the first opening of it. Oh, man. It's about 4 minutes long, too. It's a bit of a longer song. Maybe it's just like the softer pace of it, and just because it flows so well that you feel like it just goes by pretty quickly. But it's a beautiful piece. I will definitely say that, to me, it comes off, especially in the introduction, as the softer track of the album. And there's been a couple tracks that fit that, even though, again, this album is much more harsher, and I've loved that. In comparison, let's say, to Gravity, which is also a good album, I felt that, because I prefer metal with a more aggressive edge, and, a harsher sound to it, it's just, again, an individual preference. The tracks that were harsher, really, I loved a lot more. And the other tracks, the softer ones were good, but they just, I don't know, it just felt like it was a kind of a pullback a bit. But with this album, it's been pretty harsh all around, even with some of their softer songs, which still have, again, that rock bass line. I'd say this song in particular, having listened to that last measure, which is beautiful, by the way. I like the transition there, too, now thinking about it. But that softer introduction, I guess in comparison to the rest of the album, hearing how heavy it is, I'm like, but it's actually, it's a peaceful transition of mood, in a way. I feel that this kind of falls in the vein of Can't Escape the Waves, Rainbow Veins. I think Shatter's probably the harshest of the lineup there, and Shatter's beautiful, but I was really taken aback by that. Not just on the music, and that softer, it almost felt like a bit of like an acoustic performance, at least at the start of it, but I think their frontman's name is Matt. I might have that wrong. But the vocals on that, beautiful. Signature, of course, for this group. But I like that more peaceful, softer energy. I think it really works the song. And the message, too, very well written, quite convicting, at least in parts. I mean, that's been a general feeling I've had over the entire album. Like, how many songs are speaking to me? Especially over these bonus tracks. But it's also very well written. I mean, in parts, too, it's pretty... I like it kind of floats between the more literally stated and the figurative. Like, where he says... like, like downward spirals keep taking me away. I'm seeking deep inside myself again, or like isolated and far too numb to feel the pain. That hits to home. That's kind of what I'm going through. But like, and then he goes on maybe to, like, fade to silence just to throw me to the wolves again. That's kind of a familiar poetic line, but I like it. Again, it kind of jumps around in place, but it has that sentiment again of being very grounded for the listener, especially as a piece of an emotional appeal. And that chorus is beautiful. I can't step out from the inside. The hurting's pushing me fervor. And that, by the way, as I said, the vocals between transitioning from fervor to and, seamless. Beautiful to listen to. It was a wonderful jump. It's a beautiful ballad. I definitely call it that, even if again, it has that rock ending, which I liked. It was definitely, I would say, lessened in comparison to what they've ever done. The tracks I give comparisons to in regard to the energy of this piece, those do have more of a substantial rock footing. But this, again, had that softer energy, and I like that. It's a beautiful addition, in my opinion. Good message, and as I said, one that definitely hits home. And that line always sticks with you. The more I look at, like, isolated and far too numb to feel the pain, tired of wishing for a narrative to change, I'm praying I find the will to turn to page. Again, it's very realistic. I'm sure this will mean a lot to people. You know, again, this album has had that energy of really speaking to people in times of pain and stress, to many different, you know, situations and contexts. But I don't know, that line sticks with me. Like, you know, I kind of feel that way, even if perhaps I appear a bit more veiled. You know, I've given specific mention to how the tracks previously on this deluxe edition have really spoken to me over the previous releases. So, you know, I won't necessarily reiterate the conversation here, but it's a related feeling, and it sticks. Like most of the tracks have. Again, I feel all around this album has been very enjoyable to listen to. I can't wait to give the last track, This Means War, first listen. But Step Out from the Inside, that'll easily be a replay. It's beautiful. What are your guys' thoughts on that track? Now, perhaps maybe this was for you a first impression, you know, Bullet for My Valentine. What did you think? And for those of you maybe perhaps are longtime fans, do you feel... Maybe some of you are like, oh, I wanted something more aggressive, you know, all around. I mean, it has an edge towards the end. And I can understand that sentiment, because that's how I felt with Gravity. But what do you feel about this track? Do you like the softer approach? Does it, you know, the narrative of the piece, does it stick with you perhaps like it did with me? Let me know your feedback down below. But I think it's another great edition of a deluxe edition, which has been my general opinion, as I've stated many times at this point, with the standard edition. All around the tracks were fabulous, and all 4 of these editions thus far to that total 10-track count have been great. Step Out from the Inside definitely fits under the same judgment. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.